So I interviewed Channing last week, and she was just so brilliant, and she had a lot of very kind words to say about you. Just from my brief chat with her, you could just tell she was a really great guide and filmmaker to collaborate with on this. She just seemed very intelligent, very passionate. How helpful was it for you on this being your kind of first project to have a director like that to work alongside?
It was absolutely a gift because even from the start, it was like, she wanted the best out of me. She wanted the best for me, and she wanted me to completely understand the idea that she had in mind for Miss Juneteenth. So even from the beginning, I remember um, even prior to the days that we started shooting, she brought me in and I had the whole entire script. I made notes. She said she went over the whole entire thing with me. She made it clear any questions that I had. She was just very understanding. She knew it was my first role, and she was ready to help me in any way that she could. And I just couldn't have asked for a better director for my first film.
So tell me how you got into this, not just this project, just acting, because obviously this is your first role. Was it just the kind of standard auditioning process, and what was it about this role and that made you want to give it a go?
Yeah, so I originally didn't have it. I only started acting it's been a year and a half now. I decided that I didn't want to go into the regular three options of Nigerian parents of like the doctor, lawyer, engineer. And so for a moment in time, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I ran track for 6 years as well. I got injured, and that was like, okay, so I don't really know what I'm going to do with my life. So I spent some time, a couple months during my junior year of high school, trying to figure that out. And um, I just happened to stumble upon like the idea of like, okay, acting, okay, maybe we can try this out. Let's just see what happens with it. And I decided not to tell anyone because I said, if I fail, no one has to know. It's just
No.
going to be between me and whoever, my family members. That's it. And so I attended an acting school. Things happened fairly quickly. It was just like I attended like two classes. I did a seminar. I got an agent on my first seminar. And then the week after I signed with my agent here in Dallas, I got the Miss Juneteenth audition. And of course, everyone's like, yeah, you want to book your first role. And it's like, that's an ideal, like, oh, wow, like it usually doesn't happen that way. So, of course, I went in there being like, I want this so bad. And I read over the script, and it was just like, um, it was close to home because uh, I'm from Dallas, and the DFW Metroplex here in Dallas is like, I'm 45 minutes out from Fort Worth. So when I read the script and I read her breakdown, it wasn't like I was trying to figure out who she was. It's because I had lived a part of her life. I knew where she was from. I lived here all of my life. So it was like, I feel this role is for me because even when I step into it, it's not going to be an unknown territory. It's a territory that I know of and that I lived my whole entire life. And so it was just really easy to connect to what she wanted and what she was going for in the movie to convey to her mom that this is what I want to do and I'm going to try to do it. And that's the same thing that I had to do when it came to acting and pursuing an acting career, because I had to convince my parents somewhat that, can I just, go into this like creative side of things? And like, even though it's not always you have something to do, it's what I have a passion for. So yeah.
Because that's what I mean. I sort of embarrassingly didn't know too much about Juneteenth. I think that's just the thing about in the UK. It's just not taught to us much kind of in schools. And it just got me thinking just about kind of just Black history and how it's taught so badly in the UK curriculum. There's so little. And I'm just wondering about your experiences learning about Black history in your education. Do you feel that it was taught sufficiently enough in your school where you're from?
I do not believe so at all,
Mm.
actually. I feel like in these past couple of months, with everything going on from George Floyd to Breonna Taylor to even, recent police brutality incidents, I've learned more now than I've ever learned throughout high school. And obviously, it's clear that US systems don't really teach us much about Black history. It's like slaves are free and that was it. And Juneteenth is something that's probably I ever heard maybe one time. And they never, even though it is a holiday here in Texas, since I am Nigerian, my parents really didn't know holidays like that here. So I didn't actually really celebrate it like that. I didn't really know much about it. So I don't even think it's just, I think it's a collective. Black history is not taught in systems enough. And obviously there's reason why. And I just believe that now that people are starting to see and realize that there's a lot that people don't know about Black history, and we're just finding this out in the past 6 months, I feel like maybe then they will start to take the needed steps to say, we need to implement Black history into our curriculum, because at the end of the day, that's who I am. I'm always going to be a Black girl. My skin color is not going to change tomorrow. So it's like, you decide not to teach us about who we are and you conceal those things, but they conceal it for the fact of the matter that if we do know where we are, we might use it to, do things that's not the way it is. It's important, just as every other person and other races know their history, for us to know our history as well.
Yeah, is that one of the kind of the positive byproducts of a year that has, like you mentioned, has had some really tragic incidents, and that's really affected the whole world, really? But do you feel that one of the positives to come out this year is that people are talking more about it? Me and you were talking about it now. There does seem to be more dialogue and education at the moment about the wider kind of context. Is that something that you think has been an encouraging thing to have happened of late?
Yes, most definitely. Because it just seemed like, even for the film, it couldn't have come out at a better time. The name for it came out originally on Juneteenth. And it was just like people began to be comfortable with the fact that, okay, there is Black creativity out there, and we're learning more about Black people as a whole, their community, their culture, and not that we're the stereotypical things that society might call us, and that other people choose just not to see as us being humans, and rather subhuman. So it's I feel very, very happy. It is very encouraging that we are getting to talk about it, and people are becoming more comfortable with laying out the artifacts and laying out the fact of the matter that there is injustice happening, and there has to be things to be done in order to move forward and bring in new ways that, as a collective, we can say that Black people deserve rights. They deserve the right to live, simply, and the right to justice, because it matters. The incarceration rates, the rate of police brutality, these different things, they're out there. These artifacts are out there. They show us the numbers, and therefore I am really happy it's starting to come into light, because people are not turning a blind eye to injustices that are happening, and not just in the Black community, and different communities in the Hispanic community, and there's a lot going on. And so I'm just really happy of the talks that are now starting to happen, because that is a way for change to happen.
Did Juneteenth feel different this year? And if so, in what way would you say it was different to other years?
It did feel different this year, because especially around that time, the George Floyd incident hadn't happened, but like a month or so before that. So you just felt empowered. You felt like there was a shift. You felt like you just couldn't really, it was just a feeling of happiness, of excitement, of I'm Black and I'm proud to be Black. And there's no shame in it, because everyone sees what's going on. It's not like, protests were happening consistently. There's protests still happening here in Dallas. Even after the premiere, I went and protested the next day. So it was like, you felt empowered. You felt like, you wanted to continue to see change, because they weren't hearing us before. Maybe they'll hear us now. And so it was a driving force, and it was just an amazing experience and feeling.
I mean, obviously, in the movie, your character is learning and reading a Maya Angelou poem. I'm just wondering if that encouraged you to dig deeper into her work and what your relationship is now with some of her writing, which is just incredible.
So even before then, we don't learn about stuff like that. We learn poetry in school, but we never learn things that are, I'd rather say, real and deep and raw, and that give us insight to who we are, and especially Black poets, I would say, and Black writers. So getting to read that and feel that and dance to that and say the words over and over again, it really resonates with you because it's like, um, she just explains who we are in a way that it just makes you think of yourself as differently. It makes you carry your head higher. It makes you feel more comfortable in the skin that you're in. And it just allowed me to really see things as I'm a Black girl and there should be no reason why I should feel bad for that. I shouldn't feel like I have to make myself small or make society feel comfortable with who I am. I should be able to be proud of who I am. And her work really just allowed me to see that when I was dancing across the stage. You say it so many times, it sticks with you. And I'm just really happy that's the work that was chosen for me to do because it just continued to inspire me more about who I am. And even in the movie, I'm still trying to figure out myself. It's a coming of age movie, at least for Kai, in terms of her trying to navigate her life and figure out what she wants to do and how she's going to get there and how she's going to explain to her mom that that's what she wants to do. So it was one thing to find out to kind of live her life, but it was another thing I was finding myself in that, and with my hair and everything, not wearing makeup, even though I don't. It was like, you're doing it on screen now. Everyone's gonna see this, and it's like, you become comfortable with your own skin. So it was very, very nice.
So my final question, I've gone just over time, was just about sort of what's next, in the sense that you mentioned obviously you were acting only for maybe a year and a half before this project, but now you've done it and now you've seen yourself on the big screen. Is this what you'd like to pursue now? Do you feel like a career in this industry beckons for you?
Yes, sir. This is the only thing I could really think that I would really want to do with myself. Right now, I'm currently attending Howard University, and I am pursuing a bachelor's in fine arts with a concentration in acting. So this is what I want to do. I definitely can't see myself doing anything else. I love storytelling. I love being able to bring out stories, and more importantly, to be more of the representation for little girls that I didn't see growing up. I want them to look at me and say, you know what? If she can do it, then so can I. And that's what I didn't have. So even to just have that opportunity is mind blowing. And I'm just so grateful for Channing and Neil and everyone who worked on the movie and everyone who poured into me in the movie, Nicole, Kendrick. It was just an experience that solidified me coming into this industry and saying, this is what I want to do. And I can't wait for what's next.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, same. Because I thought it was a brilliant debut performance. So congratulations on the movie and best of luck with everything going forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey, you guys!